And unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to being your consumer advocate, helping you understand your buying decisions, making you more street smart here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Save our hotline number at some point. You may need it. 813-750-0550. Call or text the hotline. It's an off-air number, 813-750-0550.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
And we greatly appreciate all who reached out this last week. Getting several people reached out wanting to get pre-approved for mortgage, folks looking for credit improvement, contractor introductions, and more. Thanks so much for y'all that are reaching out to the show. We greatly appreciate you doing that. Got a great lineup for you today as well. One of our A-team packages here. We got Greg Bowman, the AC guy of Tampa Bay, coming in later in the show. Attorney Millie Athanason here coming up, as well as Fred MUTH, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, a.k.a. the Tin Man, longtime friend of the program here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And before we jump into that, I want to let you know about a couple of our hot listings right here in Tampa Bay. 202 South West Shore. This is a lot in South Tampa, one block south of Kennedy. Great opportunity. Could be potentially converted to a commercial opportunity. 202 South West Shore, vacant lot, corner lot. Build your dream home here in Beach Park, or potentially you might want to, like I say, rezone it and potentially put some type of a business there. Great opportunity. 202 West Shore, vacant lot for sale in South Tampa, the corner of Cleveland and West Shore Boulevard. Great opportunity here in beautiful Tampa Bay. We also have a property available at 12208 Four Oaks Road. This is a $1.8 million ask price. 12208 Four Oaks Road, development investment opportunity. 5 acres, MOL. And it's a great opportunity to build residential, maybe again a convert to commercial property. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, quick shout out as well to Chad Irrigation. Chad Irrigation for all of your irrigation, sprinkler needs. Great contractor based here in Tampa Bay. Victor and his team do a great job. Chad Irrigation. They actually hooked my home up to lake water, so they're pulling water out of Lake Tarpon using that. It's a lot more affordable, of course, than using the city or county water. So shout out to Chad Irrigation. Victor and his team do a great job. Longtime friends of the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, let's kick it off. We got, let's go ladies first here. Attorney Millie Athanason, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, Brandon. I always enjoy it.
Yes, my pleasure. It's great to have you as well. And today we were going to talk a little bit about auto accidents and what you may need to have in your glove box and on your persons.
Absolutely, that we need to talk about. And I wanted to let you know a little bit about what the statistics are here in Florida as to auto accidents. According to the Department of Safety and Motor Vehicles, and these statistics are the latest published, which are 2018 statistics. The 2019 ones were supposed to be published in 2020, but because of COVID, that didn't happen. But in 2018, there were over 403,000 accidents in the state of Florida.
Wow, 403,000 accidents. Wow, and yeah. my wife Lindsay and I were 2 of those. We actually both had a good one. But
oh my goodness.
Let's introduce Fred too. Fred's on the line. Fred MUTH, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, the Tin Man.
The Tin Man, I love that term. In the industry, people are starting to call me the Tin Man because of you, Brandon, and I love it. I'm enjoying it.
Nice. I love it. That's cool, man. I'm glad it's catching on. So we got Fred on the line as well as Millie, and there may be some crossover there, I think, around consumer protection. But, so what are you seeing, Fred? What do you want to talk about today, my friend?
Oh, I want that being a consumer show. I'd like to talk about the pros and cons, the ups and downs of contracting, just so that everybody knows out there who's listening what can go wrong in the contracting business and what you should be on the lookout for.
Yeah, especially too. We've had Chuck Peterson talking about deposits. How much is an average? Should a deposit be? I know some of these unscrupulous contractors, they will ask for larger than normal deposits, and unfortunately, some people are falling for that trick. What's a general rule of thumb there on deposits?
For many years we would ask for 25%. Good faith to get it moving, and of course to cover the engineering and permitting. We recently dropped that to 15% because our jobs are taking so long in the permit department. We don't like holding the consumer's money that long, so we're taking a 15% deposit, and balance paid when the job is completed. Which right now with permits and everything is 3 to 4, maybe even 5 months, depending on how quick the permits come through. Permits are really, really dragging on. I sure hope that changes.
Yeah, unfortunately, I see it too. I just put another property, about to put it under contract, one of my big development deals, just under $1 million, and it's a process, of course, educational process with a lot of times the sellers, they say, I want to sell this land, I want top dollar, and I want to sell it fast. But unfortunately, the permitting, the zoning, the different plans, the infrastructure, things of that nature come into play. And it sometimes it takes 6-8 months, even up to 18 months to get a big time deal done like that when you got acreage involved.
Sure.
So, Millie, I wanted to ask you: have you had any instances where you dealt with contractors and deposits, or anything come to mind when it comes to consumer protection around contractors?
Well, yes, I'm going through some renovations myself at my residence.
Yeah.
But no, it's not an area of law that I practice per se. I mean, I'll help a client if they need some help, like writing a letter or making a few phone calls, but I haven't had to sue any contractors or anything like that.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, but it does happen out there. So we've got Attorney Millie Athanason on the show, law offices of Millicent Athanason, another local area contractor or business. Fred MUTH, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, local area business, support the local economy through the Consumer Quarterback Show. And Fred, back to you. When you look at the overall where we're at here, we're sitting in one of the greatest markets in the history of the planet. Through the commercial breaks, you'll be hearing the latest updated stats that I've recorded and added in there. But absorption rates are high, inventory's low. That seems to be the theme of the last year or two, actually.
It's amazing. As a matter of fact, on the news this morning, today being Thursday, they were talking about it on Bay News 9. They were talking about the market, how phenomenal the market is, and how saturation, everything that you're talking about. 30-day supply of inventory max. Boy, I don't even think it's 30 days. Do you?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's right at it, and sometimes less. Some pockets are a lot less. I mean, especially the hot areas like Palm Harbor, Tarpon Springs, Dunedin, South Tampa. I mean, Carrollwood. Certain areas that are just that much more desirable. They are just really, really tough to keep inventory there. And that's where we just had Ray on the show, and Ray's warning people, hey, be careful about overpaying for properties. Sure. But unfortunately, sometimes you have to. You get in this bidding war, and you say, well, I really want that house. I got to be in the house by this time of date to get the kids back in school or the job transfer. And people are willing to overpay right now.
Yeah, I know a guy just made a deal. He offered $5,000 over the appraised value.
Nice.
And the seller accepted it, and it went through. And another one I'll talk about is I signed up a customer about 4 weeks ago. Tree fell down, hit their enclosure, and they said to me, I think we might list the house. I say, if you list the house on a Wednesday, you'll probably get an offer on a Thursday. They said, no way. I said, probably. So we get the contract to replace the cage. It's in contract. It's in permitting. I took a phone call from that customer 2 days ago, and she said, you were so right.
Nice.
I said, was it a 1 day? She goes, a 1 day turnaround. She says, I can't believe it. Now what do we do? I go, don't worry about it. I said, it'll go through as normal. You just do what you had to do. Closing on April 6th, and just forget about it. We'll take care of everything else. It's just I've not seen it like this. With the exception of 2003, 2004. I was very active in the same industry, and that was the boom. That was a tremendous boom. So, my statement today is the boom is back. And I keep saying that. I guess there's some young people that say, what's he talking about? maybe he's a baby boomer or something. I don't know. But this is very similar to what we had back then. And things were moving fast. I sold jobs back then, and I've had people call me 2-3 days later, ask me to cancel the contract because somebody came down and offered them $10,000 more for their home than they just closed on it, 2 weeks ago. And it was just that was nuts. And that's sort of what we're seeing now. I mean, it's a bidding war. If you want the house, you're going to bid for it right now.
Yeah, it's a little different in the sense that the loan programs are much more solid. So the economic conditions and the fundamentals of the market are much different in terms of the financing and some of the the non-prime loans. Those aren't there. We don't have those again. So I just want to kind of throw that in there to kind of caution people not to worry. It's not similar to what it was last time with the irrational exuberance. But yeah, it is a hot market. Different themes this year. I think this time it's more of a trend from northern states. Traditionally, we had the traditional colder to warmer climate. Yes, people would normally move south to for the weather, but also now it's kind of blue state to red states, lockdowns to free states, that type of scenario that's playing out as well, Fred.
Yes, absolutely. It's a whole different set of circumstances. But bottom line is the boom is back.
The boom is back. Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Fred MUTH can help you beautify your property, add a screen room onto your home, lanai, porch, patio, whatever you want to call it. They've got some really new, unique designs as well, Fred.
Yeah, the panoramic view is a hot potato these days, where you can take the rear view of the pool enclosure and eliminate many of the uprights and chair rails, which people want the more open view. And I just talk about one that I recently sold, 75-foot span in the back. He had 10 panels. So I think he had, when he was looking out, he had 11 or 12 uprights and then a chair rail. Now we turned that into 3 openings only, 3 25-foot openings, and it's a beautiful job. And it's on the lake, down here in Riverview. I've got plenty of photos of that one. That's what we're seeing right now. That for the pool cages, that's the hottest item out there right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Stay with us here when we come back. More from Fred MUTH, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, Millie Athanason as well, law offices of Millicent Athanason here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Later on, we're going to have the AC guy of Tampa Bay here in studio as well, Greg Bowman, the AC guy of Tampa, plus our feel-good story of the day. Contestant wins $145,000 on Wheel of Fortune, donates it all to the less fortunate. Stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Ward Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Rhymes here, owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, top 1% ranked real estate team here in Tampa Bay, and your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show with a market update. Pinellas County, latest data from the MLS, Multiple Listing Service data. As of February 2021, we have a reduction in inventory again. So we have a low inventory market already down, low records, 2562 in January, down in February, down to 2142. So that's residential listing units for sale in Pinellas County. Now, if we come down and we look at the sales are actually up. So there's an inverse relationship there. The sales are up in 2021. Sales for January 1615 and 1863 in February. So the sales are up. Inventory is down. It's a great time to be listing your real estate properties. Great time for a move-up buyer. Reach out to our hotline. We would love to talk to you about the market, about your equity in your home, and about how you can get the absolute highest sales price right now. 813-750-0550. Call or text our hotline, 813-750-0550. Also, check out the website, consumerqb.com. You can see links there to our expert contributors, our real estate listings at consumerqb.com. And we would love to help you with your buying, selling, or investing right here in Tampa Bay. Brandon Rhymes, Real Estate Quarterback Show. Talk to you soon.
My friends, when choosing a listing agent to sell your home, their track record is critically important. Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of Platinum MVP Team at Keller Williams Real Estate. They're consistently rated by the MLS in the top 1% of all Tampa Bay realtors, and that's a big deal. Brandon and Lindsay are always among the top realtors in the state. Call them today at 813-750-0550.
Find them at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Brandon Rhymes here, your host, also owner of the Platinum MVP Team at Keller Williams Realty, top-ranked real estate team here in Tampa Bay, top 1% ranked team here. And we like to feature our real estate listings live on air on the show to help our sellers get more exposure and maximize the profit. 1602 East MLK. Gill's Body Shop for sale right here in Tampa Bay. This is a property that has a 45-year reputation, just a great following. People bring their vehicles there to get serviced and repaired. 1602 East MLK, corner lot, great location in beautiful South Tampa. Gill's Body Shop available right here in Tampa Bay. Reputable auto body shop in Tampa. Available for sale. Also, 5402 U.S. Highway 92. This is a bar available for sale. This is the Finish Line Saloon, 5402 U.S. Highway 92. We got a bar for sale. If you ever thought about starting or owning your own bar, this one's turnkey, ready to go, making $10,000 to $12,000 a week in cash. You get a large corner lot. Great opportunity to own real estate here in Tampa Bay. And you can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right. So on the line, we got Millie Athanason, attorney Millie Athanason, that is, law offices of Millicent Athanason, and also Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. I want to go to Millie now. Millie, tell us a little bit about some of these stats you were talking about, auto accidents stats, and you said 403,000 auto accidents in the state of Florida.
Yes, actually almost 404,000, and that was in 2018. And unfortunately, the number is increasing, and that's probably due to, the population growth, having millions of visitors in and out of the state of Florida, the unpredictable weather, the congested roads, and even with the pandemic, I mean, they've been reporting on the news that there's been a huge influx of tourists for the spring break, and that there's certain markets that I think you and Fred alluded to earlier that have really increased in population because there's a huge demand for housing and not even enough supply. So with that, you can understand how the roads are going to be so much more congested. And
what about social media too, or some of the younger generation on their phones texting and probably doing social media as they're driving?
Yes, even though there's laws against that, it certainly hasn't stopped that. And it's not just the teenagers. You'd be surprised how many adults are busy texting while they're driving or responding to texts or what have you.
Yeah.
So that certainly is a huge issue that perhaps, a decade ago wasn't as prevalent. You've got, out of those almost 404,000 accidents annually, about 3,135 of them are fatalities. In other words, someone dies. As about 63% of all motor vehicle accidents result in injuries. So that also tells us that, there's more high-impact accidents. You're not seeing as many, as we used to call them, fender benders, that you were seeing, let's say, even 5 years ago. You'll see a lot more accidents that have involved serious injuries. About 5,600 of those accidents do involve drinking and driving, and about 9,000 of those accidents involve pedestrians. So even though a lot of people have cars or hitch rides or what have you, you still have a lot of pedestrians walking, and that's especially in the beach areas and other tourist-filled areas. Right now, about 30% of all accidents are investigated or reported by the Florida Highway Patrol. about 29% by a local sheriff's department, and about percent of them by the police department, and then about 4% from sources. So it's important. And what I wanted to touch on too is that, a lot of people say, well, should I call the police when I've been hit? What should I do? Should I just do an exchange of information and get the other guy's identification and insurance information and call it a day? I would urge you, particularly, depending on the nature of that impact, and if you feel that you're injured, by all means, you need to call the police. You need to first pull over your vehicle, make sure you're in a safe place so that you don't have another impact while you're waiting for the police, but you need to call the authorities and have them come out to the scene of the accident. A lot of times when you've been in an accident, you're not looking at your surroundings, you're not looking at traffic devices or skid marks or other things, parts of vehicles that have gotten broken and are on the road. You're not really paying attention or focusing on those elements because you're more focused on, oh my God, I've been in an accident. I'm in shock. What am I going to do? So, when in doubt, please call the authorities and have them come out and investigate the accident. One of the things I always recommend is you should keep not only your proof of insurance and your vehicle registration and your glove
box.
Glove box. I'm sorry.
Isn't it funny? It's called a glove box, right? I guess you used to keep your driving gloves in there. That's where you got your driving gloves.
Yeah. But you need to keep those in your glove box. But you should also, everybody nowadays has a cell phone. If you don't have a cell phone, at least get some sort of a disposable camera to keep in your car. But usually most people have a cell phone or an iPad or something with them. And make sure that you're able to take pictures. If you can take pictures of the scene of the accident, of the damage to the vehicles involved in the accident, maybe the people that are involved in the accident, I think that's a really important thing to have, and a lot of people do that instinctively, but you'd be surprised how many people are just in shock and they kind of freeze up, and they just don't know what to do. They're just kind of stunned. So that's something I wanted to follow up on. You should also try to keep in your vehicle a notepad and a pen, and I certainly don't recommend writing while you're driving, but keeping a notepad and a pen to make some notes to get insurance information from the other parties, or to get any type of identifying data, that's also helpful. If somebody makes a statement to you, if they come up and say, gee, I'm awfully sorry, I was texting, I didn't see you or something, jot that down, and you may think, oh my God, well, I'm going to remember that. Who would forget something like that?
Right.
You would be surprised. By the time you go, let's just say you had to file a lawsuit in a case, that could be easily a year down the road. By the time you've gone for your medical treatment and you've, gone through the demand phase with the insurance companies, it can be some time down the road. Well, you want to have a good memory of that. And memory tends to dim with time. So making some notes and just keeping them handy is something that I think is very helpful. You should also keep some a flashlight and some flares in the car, particularly for nighttime accidents, because a lot of times you can pull over to the side of the road, but if nobody sees you, you can get hit while you're sitting out there. I actually had a case one time where there was a trucking accident, and they pulled over to the side, and there were two people in the truck. One of them gets out and is walking around the vehicle, and they get hit by an oncoming vehicle at 75 miles an hour.
Oh, boy. And it happens to a lot of the tow truck drivers as well. Millie Athanason on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Fred, Millie, if you can hang out with us, we'll come back. Fred, Greg Bowman's joining us in studio, AC Guy in Tampa Bay, and then we'll get a final thought from you if you have time. We're running out of time in this segment, but I love that. Some great tips there. Auto accidents, call Millie Athanason, law offices of Millicent Athanason, and consumerqb.com. You can see links there to all of our expert contributors, and we're going to get final thoughts from them as well here coming up soon. Greg Bowman joins us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, the AC Guy of Tampa Bay. Plus, our feel-good story of the day. Find out about this contestant that wins $145,000 and then donates all the money to charity. Stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Let me know when you want to proceed, guys. I'm ready. Johnny, ready? Yep, they're both right there.
On for the whole time. What we'll do then is I'll introduce Greg. Greg will kind of tease what you're going to talk about, and then that way we can maybe what we'll do is we'll have Fred and Millie give us their final thoughts, and then that way we'll let them go and kind of get on with their day. Is that right, James? Probably the best way to do it. Let me have.
James is giving you the thumbs up.
Just move Greg back a little bit, then, if they have to go.
Yeah.
Let Millie finish up her stuff and give a chance, and then we'll come back to Greg.
Okay, got it. I got it. Okay, so Millie, we'll come back to you. Have you finish up your thought? Do your final, your final thought, and contact info, and then I'll go to Fred, or then I'll say goodbye to you, Millie, and then I'll go to Fred. Fred, give us your final thoughts, top tips, and then we'll go back. Then we'll bring Greg in.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Cool. All right.
All right, is everybody ready?
Yes, we're ready.
All righty then. In that case, everyone, please stand by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty, top 1% ranked real estate team here in Tampa Bay. Here's a hot property listing if you're looking to build a property, maybe, or build a home, that is. Zero Gun Highway in Odessa. This is a great opportunity. This is almost 2 acres, or just over 2 acres, and it is a waterfront property on a beautiful lake. 2.21 acres, 1.05 is buildable, and you got about 1,250 feet along the frontage of Gun Highway, which could be potentially another commercial zone if you were to try to go that route and try to change the zoning. Lakefront, residential or specific commercial use. Great opportunity. Zero Gun Highway in Odessa, Florida. Vacant land available for sale. Again, we have about 15 other vacant lots and land parcels for sale here in beautiful Tampa Bay. Also, we've got a property at 304 East Waters Avenue, another vacant lot, 304 East Waters Avenue in Tampa, close over there where it used to be the dog track, over by 275, close to Bird Street as well. 304 East Waters Avenue, got a nice sized lot here, 0.44 acres, 95 feet of frontage along Waters Avenue, 40 to 50,000 vehicles a day passing by. Great property for a potential for a car lot or something along those lines. And you can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. and giving a shout out to our friends over at Replenish IV Solutions. When I leave here today, I'm heading over to Replenish IV Solutions. I'm going to visit the nurse. She's going to hook me up to a vitamin infusion drip. And what this is getting all the best vitamins, minerals, electrolytes, all the good stuff into your bloodstream. So it's more effective because it's going right in your bloodstream, obviously, than taking vitamins and pills orally. Safe and effective way to restore your body's immune system with crucial vitamins and minerals and nutrients. And Replenish IV Solutions, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show. They can actually come to you as well, to your home or office, Replenish IV Solutions. Make sure you let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. All right, let's go back to Millie. Millie was in the middle of a story here. Millie Athanason, law offices of Millicent Athanason. She's a local attorney talking about car accidents, auto accidents. Also coming up, Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, and Greg Bowman, the AC guy of Tampa Bay, coming up right after that. Millie, let's go back to you. Final thoughts and a little bit about how you can help folks.
Absolutely. I always recommend, obviously, that if you are in an automobile accident, before you give any recorded statements to the insurance company, to please contact a lawyer. You do want to report the accident, but I think you should contact a lawyer and have someone represent you, whether it's me or anyone. Obviously, I would prefer that it's me, and you can reach me at 1-833-ASK-MILLY, and that's MILLY. And you can also reach me at 727-376-9100. My office is in Newport Richey, but with the advent of technology, I can meet on the Zoom or any other type of video conferencing, or I can meet really any place that somebody wants to meet to discuss the accident. And I appreciate you allowing me the forum to speak here today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Absolutely. So, and that would be a good exercise just to have an attorney friend saved in your phone. Just pull out your phone and dial 833-ASK-MILLY. Save that number in your phone. That way, when something happens, you can reach out and it's right there in your phone book, saved in your beautiful smart device there. All right, Millie, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Take care.
My pleasure. You as well. All right, Fred Muth. Let's go back to Fred, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Final thoughts, my friend, words of wisdom and parting words of advice.
For all consumers, when you're taking bids on any type of a project at your property, make sure that you have a list of questions to ask the representative of the company. There's a lot of people in this business, unfortunately, that still entertain the thought of keep it simple. Well, I don't believe that works very well in the construction industry. It may work very well if you're selling standard products, but when you're selling construction, you cannot keep it simple. There's a lot of things that the salesman, designer needs to bring to the attention of the homeowners before they sign on the dotted line. I'm a homeowner myself, and I push this theory very hard in this business because it's unfortunate. There's a lot of consumers that buy product in our industry that is not exactly what they thought that they were going to get from the beginning. So ask a lot of questions, Mr. and Mrs. Consumer, and make sure that the representative is not apprehensive about answering your questions.
Yeah, and Fred, while we got you on the show here, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, Fred, I want to bring Greg into the conversation because I think there might be some crossover here, too. I know sometimes people try to add air conditioning systems to these screen rooms. Sometimes they put glass in there as well, and maybe talk about ways to do that. But let's first welcome in Greg Bowman.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon. It's great to be here.
Hi, Greg.
Hey,
hey Fred.
AC guy of Tampa Bay in studio here, and we've got Fred Muth, a.k.a. the Tin Man, on the phones, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. So, yeah, let's talk about that dynamic. A lot of times people want to add square footage, and they have an existing porch, patio, lanai, and then, Greg, they say, hey, I want to add, I want to make this added square footage. Have you seen that dynamic out there? Have you seen that with homeowners?
No, definitely. I mean, not so much if it's a screen room, but if they're enclosing it in glass, that they want to bring that in and make it a conditioned space, that definitely adds value to a home when you consider that every square foot might add $100 to the sale price. Definitely that can be valuable to do that.
Yeah, and what kind of system might you add in that situation?
Typically, the mini split ductless design works very well for those type of rooms. I mean, sometimes you can actually get ducts out into that area, but Most of the time, a ductless unit, which is a separate system, is the best solution for that type of an area.
Is that kind of like the European style where it's
Correct.
just kind of up there in the
yeah,
wall,
there's like typically what we call a cassette on the wall, either on the wall or on the floor, that's connected to an outdoor unit via a small tubing package. That operates that way. But yeah, typically you would think of that more of European or Asian. That's where it's been more popular than it has been in the U.S., but it's made a lot of inroads in the last few years.
Yeah, it seems like in my trips overseas, it's very, the air conditioning, you turn it on only when you need it, only in that specific area.
Right. That's typically how it is in Europe or Asia. It's really the American markets that use ducted air conditioning, central air conditioning systems. You don't really see that in most of the world, actually. So.
Yeah. Fred, same to you, man. You see that out there, people, wanting to add that square footage in there.
That's correct.
Yeah.
We see a lot of that. And your standard cookie cutter home is built, and underneath the slab, for the habitable space, they put a visqueen, which is a plastic base to prevent moisture from coming through. However, on the extended lanai out the back that's already built into the footprint of the home with the shingle roof, they generally do not include that visqueen base because that is not habitable space. And if you put glass windows in or even vinyl or acrylic, a lot of times you have a lot of moisture coming through the concrete slab because there's no visqueen barrier underneath, which is a sad situation because it doesn't cost that much to add a little extra visqueen, but the builders typically do not do it. Now, if we build the room on the back, whether it's a screen room or whether it's going to be built for glass, acrylic, whatever, our concrete man, William Connor, who I've been working with him since 1996, he'll put visqueen down regardless. He doesn't ask questions. He knows that no matter what, when you put the visqueen base down, three things happen. It prevents moisture from coming through. It allows that concrete to stay moist and wet for a longer period of time so that it gets harder. And then should there ever be a hairline crack anywhere in the slab, it eliminates the bugs from coming through. So the visqueen's not that expensive. But a lot of other contractors, they do not like to use it, unfortunately.
Here's a question for both of you as well that will come up. And by the way, if you just joined us, Brandon Rhymes here. I'm your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're talking with Greg Bowman, the AC guy of Tampa Bay, longtime friend of the program, as well as Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, one of our longest-running expert contributors on the show, 5 or 6 years, maybe even longer on the show, Fred.
Yes.
Open permits. Talk to me about open permits. Sometimes, we're listing a property and there'll be some type of an addition that they added, but they didn't permit it, or it's an open permit that it didn't close out. Maybe a previous contractor maybe didn't close it out. Greg, we'll start with you.
Yeah, that's a very common thing. Well, first of all, that's a very common thing that permits, especially for air conditioning changeouts, are not pulled. We see it all the time. We'll go into a job that we're like, how did this ever pass inspection? And it doesn't take much checking to see, well, there was never a permit. No wonder they got away doing this.
Oh, wow.
But open permits is basically when a permit has been pulled, but then it's never been closed out. Part of the process is it requires a final inspection by the jurisdiction to verify that everything was done to code, and then they sign off on the permit, close it out. An open permit now can prevent real estate sales. I'm sure it's something we get called out on occasionally to say, hey, we had this work done, and we have an open permit. Can you guys help us out? We are very thorough in our company about making sure we close those permits out because they can come back to bite you. We actually had one that we had closed out, but for whatever reason, the jurisdiction did not have it marked as closed out, and we had to straighten that mess out. So, but yeah, it's definitely a problem.
Yeah, and it'll hold up a closing. It'll cause problems. Mm-hmm. Even buyers could say, hey, there's too many. It doesn't take much in some cases to scare off a buyer. Mm-hmm. Fred, have you seen that in your space?
Well, it's in the past 2 months, I've seen it 3 times. And City of Tampa, for example. Now let's go back to concrete. When it's concrete slab and there's a permit involved with the slab, several things have to take place. Number one, a site inspection has to take place where the inspector comes out prior to any work being done. Make sure that the trees are wrapped. Make sure that the silt fence is in place. Make sure that you're not too close to oak trees. And then the second inspection would be for what's called the footer inspection, where they come out after it's formed to make sure that it's the right depth, the right steel. And then the third inspection is the final when the entire job is done. And I do see quite often where my competitors will sell the job a little less than me. They get the work, and then we find out later on that there was no site inspection or footer inspection for the slab. The slab was poured. It probably has the footer, and the fact that it never had the site inspection or the footer inspection, they cannot close that permit out. That permit will sit there open until somebody brings in an engineer and negotiates with the city, and they probably are going to spend another $1,000 or $1,500 now to clear this thing up. It's just a shame. It's a shame that it happens.
And then, and also, when we come back, I want to talk about closing out a permit after the fact, because I know that's another scenario that comes up to play as well. Stay with us when we come back. More from our expert contributors here. Greg Bowman, AC Guy of Tampa Bay, AC Guy of Tampa.com, acguyoftampa.com. Also, Fred Bew, Tampa Screens and Aluminum here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Feel good story of the day. More from our experts right after this break. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Rhymes here, owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Also, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show right here on AM 860 The Answer. Residential listings in Hillsborough County, giving you your market update. Latest data here from the Mid-Florida Regional MLS. In January, the inventory went down again. 2292 in January, down to February, 1963 units available. Inventory's down. Residential sales are up. So in January, 1798 properties were available for sale. And if you take that number into February, 2,015 properties have sold. The absorption rate is 97.4%, and it's a 1.03 months supply of inventory. Again, a strong seller's market. So if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest, right now would be a great time for move-up buyers, by the way, because you're taking advantage of less inventory. Also, at higher price points, you have less competition. So reach out. We'd love to talk to you. 813-750-0550. Call or text our hotline, 813-750-0550. And for all of our listings, you can see platinummvpteam.kw.com. That's platinummvpteam.kw.com. And if you'd like more information about our radio and TV show, you can go to consumerqb.com. That's consumerqb.com. Make it a great day. Please go out there and do something kind for one another and perform a random act of kindness. We'll see you next time.
My friends, when choosing a listing agent to sell your home, their track record is critically important. Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Real Estate. They're consistently rated by the MLS in the top 1% of all Tampa Bay realtors, and that's a big deal. Brandon and Lindsay are always among the top realtors in the state. Call them today at 813-750-0550.
Find them at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty, helping you win in any marketplace. Every day we tell you something good in our feel-good story of the day.
Tell me something good.
All right, so you get a contestant that wins $145,000 on Wheel of Fortune. By the way, we looked it up. 1975 is how long the Wheel of Fortune, since 1975, the Wheel of Fortune has been on air. Donates it all to less fortunate. So a contestant on the Wheel of Fortune donated his entire winnings, $145,000, to a charity, multiple charities. Scott Colbrenner of Encino, California, was a contestant on the Wheel of Fortune. He had won $145,000 in prizes, plus collected an additional $100,000 grand prize. He donated all the money, split between two charitable organizations, Uplift Family Services and Los Angeles Regional Food Bank. And he was quoted by saying, "While I hoped I would do okay on the show, I never thought that anything like this could happen," end quote. And he says, goes on to say, "I got lucky that day, and I knew right away I wanted to share my good fortune." And he says, the memories from that day will last forever, but the urgent need in our community cannot wait. There's our feel-good story of the day. Awesome. Love those stories and feel good story and helping you win in any marketplace. That's our goal. ConsumerQB.com. You can see links there to all of our expert contributors. And we got two of our best here on the show right now. Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Greg Bowman, AC guy of Tampa Bay. And gentlemen, wanted to mention a little bit about, going back to what we were talking about before when you talk about square footage, such a key indicator to price and value, and then you get into dollar per square foot. But as we were talking, just some of the different things, and Greg, I know we want to talk about life cycle cost of the machine and then the quality of the machine, how long that's going to last and the repair and maintenance. Going back to a previous point, though, is a lot of times the screen rooms, they want to count that as square footage. But what I found, at least in Pinellas County, when the county is petitioned to say, hey, we've added square footage or we've added air conditioning. We may have dropped a duct in there. But what sometimes they say is that you can't add that square footage because it's not uniform. It's not a stucco concrete wall or even a wood frame. It's a little bit different construction type. So I wanted to get your take on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, typically if we go to add air conditioning to a screen room or an area like that, we have to go through a permitting cycle where we have to submit energy calcs and different forms. But that is something that you would come up against. Like if that structure was probably an all aluminum structure or something that wasn't insulated, we probably would be denied the right to actually add air conditioning to that. Okay. It has to meet the current energy codes when we go to do that.
That's good information.
For it to be able to be considered conditioned space, which is, if you're talking about, 200 square foot at, depends on the area you're in, but at least probably $100 a square foot. That's $20,000 added to your home value. That's huge value that somebody can add if they can be able to count that. But there are some hoops to jump through to make that happen.
Yeah, Fred. Same question to you, my friend.
Same thing. And
yep.
I can just say ditto to what we just heard. The thing is, and somebody can correct me if I'm off on this one. It's still my understanding that to make that habitable space, it doesn't necessarily have to have air conditioning. It has to have HVAC and electric. And I think they're the two requirements to turn it into habitable space. If we're building it from the scratch, obviously it would also have to have the visqueen barrier base. Do you know anything different from what I just said?
No, that would be my understanding as well. That we don't necessarily have to put air conditioning in it, but it does have to meet current energy code for it to be considered conditioned space.
Yeah.
So that it can be counted as livable square footage in the footprint of the house for the value of the house.
And that dollar per square foot, like you mentioned,
right.
I think that's a key component. Is that it also they want uniformity as well. So if the rest of the house is stucco concrete block or even stucco over wood frame. Awesome. Good stuff there. Now, Greg, I want to go back to you. Talk a little bit about, the decision when people look at these air conditioning units, they just think it's some kind of a box and what's on the inside. I don't really know. I heard there's some kind of a capacitor and these things.
Right.
But when you look at different brands and you think about, repairs and the life cycle, so life cycle cost.
Yeah, when we are consulting with a customer about replacing their air conditioning, we try and encourage them to look at it from a life cycle cost perspective, not your initial investment, because the initial investment is only a very small part of the picture. We've done years of studying it to see that if you take the lowest investment up front, yes, year one you did well, but if you're going to be in that home for 10 years, by the end of those 10 years you will have invested more in that basic air conditioner than you would have if you put a little bit better machine in with longer warranties, better components to last longer, and that type of thing. So it's really important to kind of evaluate where you're at. Like if you're flipping a house, they're going to make the decision on that based on my costs are only year one. I don't care about year 2 through 10.
Exit strategy.
Correct. So they're going to look for the lowest upfront cost. But if you're going to be in that home for 5 years or 10 years, you really want to take a look at what the life cycle costs are. Repair costs. What are the repair costs going to be? The efficiency level of the unit is going to impact your annual operating costs. So you need to look at that. It makes a little more sense to invest a little bit more in a higher efficiency unit if you're going to be paying the electric bill to air condition that area for the next 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
You'll recoup a lot of that cost. So you have to kind of, look at it at more than just what's the contract price to put this unit in.
Yeah.
Because that will burn you if you go just for the lowest contract price every time.
It's almost like any industry. You get what you pay for, and you look at some of these flat fee listing services, people that, pay a flat fee and then try to list their property. They end up having problems or get sued and don't forget to disclose something. They don't, just do the process properly. We got a couple minutes here left. Let's go. I want to give Fred final thoughts, Fred MUTH.
Well, competence in the industry is very important because there are a lot of people in this industry that are basically incompetent in their job, and I think we all see that and suffer. We obviously as homeowners we do as well, but it's a very good idea to, when you're finding a contractor, make sure that they're very competent at what they're doing.
Awesome, good stuff. Thanks for joining us, Fred. We appreciate it.
Okay, take care.
Tampa Screens and Aluminum, Fred MUTH. All right, Greg Bowman, AC guy of Tampa Bay. Final thoughts, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom, my friend.
I would just echo again what Fred was just saying. It is so important to to make sure you know who you're dealing with, that you're dealing with somebody who's going to stand behind the work, that's going to be there. In the air conditioning business, that air conditioner is going to last you at least, hopefully, 10 years. We would like them to last longer. Unfortunately, it seems like the way our society is, the way we build things, we're building them pretty much for a 10-year life, and that's kind of 10 to 12 is kind of what we expect. But still, you're looking at about an investment for 10 to 12 years. You want to make sure that whoever's putting that in is doing the absolute best job that they can for you. You don't want to have the Votech school guys install your unit, do you? You want to have a professional do it. You want it to be done right. If you're buying a car, you want to know that it was put together by the automotive engineers, not by a couple of guys drinking beers on a Saturday just putting parts together. You want it, you want it done right. So it's important to do your homework. Investigate who you're dealing with, look at their reviews, ask for references. We typically have a list of customers who have given us their permission to give out their phone numbers if our future customers want to call them. Ask a contractor for that.
That's great.
Do some investigating. Make sure you know what you're getting into.
Real quick, are most of the components made in America? Are most of the different are they manufactured here?
Unfortunately, most of the components are not made in America. Most of them are made overseas. The motors, the controls, the electronics, the majority of that comes from overseas. They're predominantly all assembled in America.
Assembled in America, okay.
And like your cabinets, the coils, the major components are still made in America, but a lot of the less major pieces come from overseas.
Yeah. All right, Greg Bowman, AC guy of Tampa Bay. Thanks again. Appreciate you coming in. And you can see all of our expert contributors, consumerqb.com. Reach out to the hotline. We'd love to get you in touch with any of our 50-plus show partners here on the show. We want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community. And we'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show.
Good show, guys.
All right, Fred, thank you so much for everything. We will catch up with you next time.
You got it. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Jeez.